People are very prejudiced against. They hear the word asylum seeker and they have a lot of prejudice against people.
Do you think they should be here?
No, I don't, no.
Any illegal immigrant should be deported. I think this country is far too ethnicised. Therefore, I probably would vote British National Party.
If they're going to come to the country, I have no problem with them, as long as they're working and they're not scrounging, getting benefits for no reason, but most of them do.
Some of them, they come in, right,
and they don't work,
and then they don't work, and they just laze around, they take all our money, and then they slag us off. They're saying, oh, they're horrible to us, and they're racist, and they're nasty, and all that. Yeah, if they're willing to do something for our economy, that's all right, but if they just feed off our economy and then insult us, then what's the point?
A distinction needs to be drawn between asylum and immigration. There are many people who are forced to flee from their home and home country because of civil wars or regional wars that are taking place, or drought or famine. And we should treat people with dignity when they're forced to flee. You need to make it possible for people to be here and contribute to the way the society runs, rather than being forced to be dependent on it. The vast majority of refugees who come here will have worked every single day of their lives. It seems crazy to me to say the one thing we deny them is the right to work and contribute.
Certainly the processing procedures could be made quicker, I do feel, but whilst they're here they should be granted normal human rights and civilities.
No, I think they should just be deported from Dover, put them on a ship and make them scrub the decks, etc., then deport them.
I believe in justice and fairness for all people, and actually detention centres are a little bit like prisons, and I don't believe in that.
The money that they pay to put them up in these detention centres would probably be better spent if they maybe use the money to, find them jobs and homes and integrate them into our society.
In my experience, there were a number of really vulnerable people that came to this country to seek asylum, and I think the last thing that would have been good for them was to be put in detention. People with families, young women who'd been raped and tortured.
I think it's very difficult for people not to appear to be prisoners and therefore criminals if you put them in separate centres.
I can see the point of them going to centres if, and the theory of these centres it would be, that they can be processed very quickly and given a much earlier decision as to whether they're eligible to remain in this country or not. People would see it was fairer, people would not be concerned that people are going to enter the country and simply disappear. But in practice, it is extremely difficult and probably extremely expensive, I suspect.
It's more about the Home Office having power on the asylum seeker and controlling them. They already have that. They have got police stations which the asylum seekers are signing every week. So therefore, if they would like to remove somebody, they will be able actually to remove it whenever they want. Let's say, for example, if these people are going to spend 2 years on these detention centers, it will make them actually isolated for these 2 years, and they're going to lose 2 years of integration.
It's important that the surrounding community is accepting in many ways to the people who are relocating here. Asylum seekers and refugees often experience difficulties associated with not only their previous experience in their country of origin, but also difficulties associated with resettling in a new culture, uncertainties about the asylum process and waiting to hear about whether they're going to be able to settle here in this country.
I think discrimination is looming at every corner for somebody that is new in a country. When you are particularly an asylum seeker with the kind of media we have in this country, it is obvious that you are going to go through a lot of scrutiny, a lot of stereotyping, a lot of scapegoating.
The media and the politicians should be very careful about the language that's used. I just think the story is hyped up, it's scaremongering, it makes people frightened. The paranoia that's in the media at the moment is just mad, So I think we just need to be more tolerant and patient.
People who control the media, they should know about what they say and what they affect in the population. very interesting, very, very dangerous what they do.
I don't think anybody in the media has really portrayed an accurate picture of asylum and people who seek asylum.
I think the media, they've sort of revealed refugees to be terrible people, yeah, which of course they're not.
We set up caricatures that divide people rather than build bridges between them.
I'm always amazed at the sort of information that some groups of people have and actually believe because they read it in the paper, when the truth might be quite different. I'm not aware of any evidence that says there's been a marked increase in crime because asylum seekers are living in a particular area. Certainly not in the East Midlands, and certainly not across the country. There's probably evidence to suggest that there may be an increase in crime against asylum seekers in terms of racial harassment and those sorts of issues.
The people in this country do not know enough about the background of the asylum seeker, and they don't know what type of people they are. They're professionals, they're people with skills, they're people very intelligent, and the people that actually can contribute a lot to this country. So therefore, obviously, if you get to know these people, then you will actually think differently.
So many people are distressed not only by the report through the media, but they are depressed by the time that is taken to be processed, and unfortunately, obviously, they are depressed from the fact that the uncertainty of the outcome of the case might just be negative, and no one can contemplate being sent in a place where a claim is being tortured for so long and so badly.
I
think they have an effect on the local population. I think people are fed up with the way they walk about, saunter around as if they own the place.
Yeah, they're entitled to voice their fear if that's how they feel, but I think that fear is a product of biased media coverage, you know, that has an agenda.
If they need asylum, then, you know, they've got rights to our hospitals and they need as much help as we can offer.
We do need to help, and we do need to support countries that are being persecuted and people who are being murdered and people who are being raped, and we need to help. It's our right as humans to protect other people and to protect each other.
People should be thinking that we are just normal people, we are just like ordinary people in the city, that we face the same problem that ordinary people in the community are facing, that we have the same problem of accommodation, that we have the same problem of support, that we have the same problem of work, mostly that we are not even allowed to work. So we shouldn't be seen as you know, scavengers or whatever they call us.
They actually do get only 70% of the income support. We have to bear in mind that the reason that they are getting housing and they're getting the support is because they are not entitled to work. So, which means that if they are not entitled to work, they've got no choice but they have to claim benefits.
I think it's very important to ensure that the law's main function, which is to decide who is a genuine asylum seeker or not, should always be the first and foremost in any bill that's passed or in any tightening up that's done. Because if we continue down the path of tightening up the law as far as asylum seekers are concerned, we are running the risk of not giving them a fair trial and not being in a position to really decide accurately whether they are genuine asylum seekers or not. And I think that the thing that should never be forgotten is that these people are in fear of their life, and it is important that we make an accurate and just decision on their case, because failure to do so can result in loss of life.
What have people whose countries are being blown up got to do with our country?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like in Iraq or in Africa, everywhere is just war, war, war. The war, I think, caused from the Western. On the Western do these things, and then the people, I think, has right to come to asylum here, you know.
We've dealt with this almost on a crisis basis in international terms, and we haven't looked at the extent to which, if you were serious about wanting to limit forced migration, you'd have an international policy that was based on avoiding wars rather than starting them. You wouldn't create conditions of instability in regions that meant that families, in order to survive, chose to flee.
You know what we should do?
Just go get a job.
There's islands, right, in the world that haven't been inhabited yet. We should buy one, and then we should buy one, and then we should send them all there.
A bigger country. This is too small. I don't know. Just not here.
Anywhere apart from Britain.
If they can't get them here, maybe America or something. Better countries where they want to work, not back to their own countries.
I don't know. I don't know where to send them if they're not welcome here.
As a world, we need to act together. We need to talk to each other.
I don't think asylum seekers necessarily exercise a choice as to where they go. I think that they are in the difficult position for having to flee their own countries. To imply that there's a choice available to them, I think completely undermines the whole process.
There are a lot of asylum seekers coming to this country, but they're coming here because if they will be staying in their own country, probably they will be killed. So therefore, when we are actually accepting an asylum seeker in here, when we are actually giving them the right to stay, we are saving their life.